everyone understands that a scale is important. Um, and Donald Trump also certainly did. He had been trumpeting his ability to draw a crowd, even though he's never been able to draw a crowd anyway. Since before he was elected squatter, he sent out multiple entreaties for people to show up in Washington for his January 6th Klan attack, which included one that he promised his Klan supporters that the day would be wild. In the months leading up to this, and it was far from chastened about how those who answered his call behaved that day. He boasted about how many people showed up to hear him speak outside the White House, which not a lot of people showed up. But those who arrived in the city that day with more overtly nefarious goals similarly understood the utility of having a large mass of people. Of course, the Klan people. On public forums like the Donald Lost, Trump sycophantic inbreds that are KKK members had pushed people to show up in the city, and appeals that sat beside plans for bringing weapons and intimidating the members of Congress who would be voting to finalize Trump's 2020 election loss. In a court document that was released in recent months, the extremist groups had spotlighted the utility of having a large mass of angry people show up in Washington to pressure the government. Days after Joe Biden's victory was certified and confirmed, the head of the Oath Keepers allegedly published a call to action that included gathering millions of the KKK people in the Capitol to storm the center of legislative power. In a chat among leaders of the group the Proud Boys, which is another extremist white supremacist group, one allegedly speculated about the utility of having a huge crowd overwhelming the police. Now, what would they do if 1 million fake patriots stormed and took the Capitol building, or shot into the crowd? I think not. Basically, one wrote the reply: they would do nothing because they can do nothing. And other messages, the Proud Boys allegedly discussed the possibility um, of what they referred to as normies, regular people that incited to violence, like burning DC to ash. Now, the person who had the power to ensure or prevent a gathering of a sufficient size to guarantee that law enforcement would be overwhelmed was the then squatter Donald Trump. Now, what's more, he actively encouraged people to march from his Klan rally at the Ellipse on that day to the Capitol building, an appeal that he made more than once, including at one point early in his Klan speech that he would walk with them, which he had no intention of doing. He basically told them they were going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue, and he basically said that he loved Pennsylvania Avenue, but he just loved himself. And he said the last few sentences of his Klan speech, and that we are going to the Capitol, but he had no intention of going to the Capitol. Even as he was speaking, if you can even call it that, people had begun moving toward the Capitol. The movement was recorded in videos that were uploaded to the social media site Parler. Initial barricades had already collapsed before Trump finished, but the Capitol wasn't actually breached until well after he ended his Klan speech. By now, the question is not whether Trump bears blame for what happened on January 6th, and that's clear from his having spent weeks making false claims about having won an election that he knew he lost, and then drawing tens of thousands of people to Washington who helped create the critical mass needed to overwhelm police on Capitol Hill. The question is, instead, and it's to the extent to which Trump and his team understood, as did the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, and Trump sycophants online, that getting those thousands of people to the Capitol enabled the sort of balance that subsequently unfolded that day. Now, the first indication that there was some internal tension about the prospect of pushing people to the Capitol came in weeks after the riot itself happened. In the immediate aftermath of Trump's will be well Klan tweet about coming to Washington on January 6th, a two-track effort began to bring the promise of broad protest to fruition. One track involved the group Women for Trump, or dumbasses for Trump, and its leaders Amy and Kylie Kremer. The other track centered on a Klan rally at the Capitol itself, and continuation of a Stop the Steal Klan effort from right-wing activists named Ali Alexander. Now, as January 6th approached, those two tracks were fused into one coordinated plan involving three Klan events: a Klan rally on January 5th, at which fringier Trump sycophants could speak, the Trump Klan speech at the Ellipse on the morning of January 6th, and then a vaguely defined Klan rally at the Capitol itself as the counting of electoral votes was underway. Now the latter Klan rally was included in official messaging for the March to Destroy America, as it was known as, but there was no permit obtained specifically for a march between the White House and Capitol Hill. Instead, permits for the Klan rallies indicated that there would be likely some informal movement between the two locations. Um, Dustin Stockton, who is one of those who helped put together the package of events, would later indicate alarm at Trump's announcement that the crowd would travel from the White House to the Capitol. Now, speaking to MSNBC's Chris Hayes back in December, Stockton described testimony that he offered to that House committee investigating the violence at the Capitol. What he said, basically, what he said is that we revealed to the committee that there was an internal conflict that was ongoing inside the organizer groups about what the program and what the day on January 6th would look like, and what it should also look like. And we kind of lost that battle, and we didn't realize that we lost that battle until the then Squatter Trump told people to walk down to the Capitol. Now this is fucking important. It's an indication that people around Trump were opposed to moving people to the Capitol, but Trump did so anyway. Now the concern, Stockton told ProPublica last summer, it was a last minute march without a permit, without the Metro Police that there usually be there to fortify the perimeter, and they all felt unsafe. He raised concerns with Amy Kremer, and he said that the pair contacted Katrina Pearson, a longtime Trump nutlicker who was coordinating the White House plans for the day with organizers, and not getting the desired response. Stockton said Kremer then said she would escalate the question to Mark Meadows, who was then Trump's chief of staff. Stockton says Kremer later told him that the White House would take care of this, which they didn't. On Sunday of that particular time, Rolling Stone offered a new reporting on a call between Kremer and Meadows. Scott Johnston, who worked as an aide to Kremer at the time, told the magazine that he'd overheard a conversation between Meadows, Pearson, and Kremer. And they were very open about how there was going to be a march. Everyone knew that there was going to be a Klan march, Johnston claimed. Ultimately, Johnston claims the group decided to direct the people down there and make it look like they went down there on their own. Now, what's the worry? That actually providing security would cost a lot, and that they didn't want it to look like Trump was pushing people to pressure Congress. This would certainly help explain why Stockton was surprised by Trump's speech, the Klan speech, as I would like to call it. But responding to the Rolling Stone article, Kremer and Pearson flatly denied participating in any such phone call. Of course, they're Trump rednecks, so why would they? So why would they admit to anything? So if Stockton and Johnston offered testimony to Congress similar to what they told ProPublica and Rolling Stone, they did so under penalty of perjury. Trump's defense of his actions before and on January 6th has largely been that he simply brought people to Washington where they lamentably crossed the line into violence based on his dishonest claims about the election. In other words, that he doused everything with gasoline and passed out matches but didn't actually spark a flame. That question still lingers, and that will certainly be of interest to the January 6th committee to answer, and not to mention to historians, which is the one question to historians is whether Trump understood how pushing people to the Capitol that day would increase the likelihood that violence would erupt. If Trump, like those pro-Trump sycophants, like the pro-Trump sycophantic posters on the Donald and like the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers understood that having thousands of people surrounding the police at the Capitol made it more likely that the electoral count would be interrupted. We now have another indication that he probably did know, but Trump's a dumbass. So yeah. So if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You could also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you could contribute just as little as $2 to my Patreon link to help further support the work of my videos. And yeah.